Here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Dr. Mundo in the jungle. Remember when I used to play this guy all the time, like once a week? How times have changed. So, Mundo, where to begin? We have Gangplank top against Zac, first of all with our matchups of course. We have Misfortune partner with Lux bot against Blitzcrank and Caitlyn.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We have Cho'Gath mid against LeBlanc, and I'm Dr. Mundo in the jungle against... I couldn't see who that was real quick. But if you didn't guess, this is post-commentary. So I already know how the game's going to play out, and basically I wanted to send the Cinderhulk out with a bit of a bang. So Mundo,
30 seconds until
he kind of does benefit from, well, he's a bit unique. He can kind of make do with either version of the Juggernaut or the Cinderhulk. And of course, since I wasn't doing live commentary while playing it, expect sarcasm in my text. So, Zero Wing reference, but going back to where I was. So, Mundo himself, he does a lot of damage with his Q, but his W is a damage over time thing, and that kind of synergizes with the Cinderhulk and allows you to take down camps really, really fast once you're established. And by established, you wonder what I mean? Well, you'll see as I take the, what's it called here? I never remember what the frog is called. Gromp. So, right here, Mundo has trouble with his first clear. So, right there I got a decent leash, and you may have noticed I did not take the W like I used to. The jungle has changed so much, and Mundo as well, to where the W is really low priority to the Q and the E. It's worth maxing second under certain circumstances, namely with the AP or CC heavy teams. So right there you can see how close clearing that camp was. Meantime, I want to take this. It's not an easy take, sadly, due to Mundo not having a hard CC. I have the slows to allow me to stick to it and get more E procs off, but I can't get the bonus damage unless I have the gold buff. And the reason why I want to take this is I need gold before I go back, and I was anticipating a early gank on the bot lane because it's Misfortune, and lo and behold, there is the jungler. So I think the jungler was looking for the Scuttle Crab, and surprise, I beat the jungler to it. So first things first, let's go to the top lane. Gangplank just killed Zac, and that really stumped me because Zac's passive allows him to regenerate. That's what I'm talking about here. So for the duration of the game, I couldn't figure out how Gangplank did that. And it's not until the game actually ends that I find out from Gangplank himself. So Zac right there made a poor choice and decided to fight Gangplank in a bunch of minions. So Gangplank stacked his passive, burned down Zac, and once he popped, the minions are what actually killed him. So right here, that was a good silence, but we are going to have problems with LeBlanc here. Cho is going to get utterly annihilated by her, so much so that we're going to have a Mega Fed LeBlanc running around the map. And I'm going to try in vain at first to salvage that lane before I just throw in the towel, and that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to put this game up, other than just, hey, let's send the Cinderhulk out with a bang before it gets nerfed a bit. So, one of the things I need to show is how to deal with a lane that is kind of hemorrhaging gold. So first things first, Gangplank is doing pretty well top. That means that's a spot worth trying to look into. Gangplank has the potential to carry. That's one of the first things to note. The other one on the map with potential to carry, since the Cho is going to get annihilated, is Misfortune, of course, our AD carry. And as Mundo, a meat shield, my job is to kind of peel for them while dealing damage with cleavers. Right here I wanted to get the crab because I figured Gangplank is going to be pulling heat sooner or later. And by giving him as much support as I can, it would increase his chances of survival. So right now I just need to keep farming for a bit because Mundo is kind of worthless before level 6. You have to use your health as a resource. I ain't gonna go over the moves, but I can do that real quick. Mundo's passive turns just flat amounts of health into additional health regen, which is why he synergizes so freaking well with the Cinder Hulk in its current form. He not only gets a damage increase, but he gets additional stats because of the way his passive works. Actually, well, you'll see how ridiculous it gets later on in the game. So right here I wanted to try to get LeBlanc. So right there I kind of baited her back into it, but I missed that one cleaver. And what really hurts is that might have been enough to actually slow her down. But instead she gets away. I sacrificed my flash, and as a result, Cho is going to be kind of paying for that. So your passive turns just high amounts of health into additional regen. Your Q is your cleaver. It's a linear skill shot with a awkward missile width, I guess would be the proper way to describe it. It's kind of hard to hit these days, but if you can definitely keep someone slowed, and it's really good at chunking tanks, like, say, Zap. But your Q does have a flat health cost, so you're not punished for stacking health in any way. I think only Mundo's ult has a percentage cost. Right here I can go ahead and grab the Cinder Hulk, or not the Cinder Hulk, Bammy Cinder. But the thing is, if I went back now, I wouldn't actually be able to afford any potions. So right here, the trick to clearing the chicken camp efficiently, take out the small tree. And I'd like to be able to do something to help Cho, but nothing I can do. And I wasn't sure what LeBlanc that was, so I ended up pulling back and I'm taking chicken damage when I shouldn't. So I don't know where exactly she is. You can see Gangplank kind of thought she was coming my way as well. I decided I'll come back for the big chicken. I'm backing out now while I'm still alive. So Q, flat percent health damage, no scaling whatsoever, and flat health cost. Pretty awesome move, low cooldown so you can spam it. W is a toggle, Flames of Agony or Burning Agony, I don't remember which one it's called. You will basically immerse yourself in flames, dealing damage to stuff around you, not giving the move up to Cho because he's going to die. A lot. I already see the writing on the wall. Plus I figure I can probably use the XP to level up, get my ult, and make plays. So while you do deal damage over time, you have to pay health per second to use that in addition to the health per second you just pay by taking hits. And it's not a good jungle move, I'd say, in the current form of the jungle. So that brings up... oh yeah, the additional thing that does give you is tenacity. There's a crowd control reduction that's on your W when it's active. So by having that up, I can get through certain CC moves such as LeBlanc's Ethereal Chains, and it's Rengar that's in the jungle. So right here I have to... well, I'm going to die, but right here is when I realize, okay, there's nothing I can do for Cho, and I try to tell him what he needs to do. So instead of just raging at him or anything like that, I tell him just play safe, farm under your tower. The important thing is you don't die anymore. Get the CS where you can, and as long as you're not dying, you can still get some EXP and you'll be able to at least provide some utility. His feast is going to be 100 flat true damage without any AP scaling that we can use on objectives such as Baron or Dragon. And worst come to worst, it's still a lot of true damage. It's something like 300 to 400 that he can take out of an enemy champion in the event that there's a skirmish. So he's not going to be useless, plus he'll also have the silence on his W. It's just he's not going to be carrying this game. So your W does have the crowd control reduction, the tenacity attached to it. That brings us to your E, and I can't remember the names for the One is sadism, the other one's masochism. Your E is... oh yeah, the W does have AP scaling. That's the only move of Mundo's that does, other than technically his ult. So, right there, Zac. Interesting play. The problem is, Rengar is just going to die in his place then. And the Rengar is higher priority. And the awkward part is, we got Zac to come out of hiding, so, yeah. Bad news is, we can't actually pick him up because of the LeBlanc, and right here you can see how dangerous she actually is. So I had my W up so that I could get out of her chain more quickly, but it didn't matter in the end because she still managed to kill me and she saved Zac. So right here I realized we have to focus everything on the top lane. If you're wondering why I got the Ruby Crystal right there, well, the Cinder Hulk does give me more HP and then therefore more regen. The thing that I'm kind of looking at is namely CDR. Since the Cinder Hulk does not give you any CDR and the way the game is playing out at the moment, I figure I need a Kindle Gem quick so I can get as many ults out as possible and therefore I'd be as healthy as possible. That was the whole rationale on why I did not get the Cinder Hulk just yet. I was thinking that I wasn't actually going to stay in the jungle very long. I'd just come back, grab the Kindle Gem real quick, but things are going to play out a little bit differently. So had I known how things would have been played out, yeah, I should have just went for the Cinder Hulk, but... well, hindsight, you know how that works. But your E, you pay a flat health cost to use. It persists for 5 seconds, and it gives you a surge of AD. At rank 1, it gives you a flat 40 with additional AD based on how much health you're missing. So if you're not familiar with AD totals, 40 is basically 80% of a BF sword. And you only have to pay a little bit of health to use that, which is why I took that second. So the way I always look at the E is basically push E, get BF sword. That's it. As for Rengar right there, I threw the cleaver to get an assist, that way we maximize our gold yield, and it wasn't enough to kill him, so Gangplank still gets the kill credit and we set back their jungler. Basically, our path to success is getting Gangplank up and keeping everyone else on their team down as much as possible. So right around now is when LeBlanc's going to make her fatal mistake. If you want to know what ultimately ends up costing her, she's going to kind of give up farming now that she took the tower, and as a result she's just going to gradually fall behind as the kills become harder and harder to get. And if you're wondering what I mean by harder to get, if you didn't notice what I was looking at with that Kindle Gem, it's a Spirit Visage, which is going to make me heal a lot better. Right there you can see she killed MF, and there's not much I can do in this particular circumstance. So right here I just need to try to get the objectives I can. Hopefully this will give us some eyes on the dragon, and we just gotta stem the bleeding while we wait for some of the later stuff to kick in. So we got some vision on LeBlanc's movements there. I'm still going to be taking this because Cho can't do anything with it. Ultimately, I will be giving it to Gangplank. But as for your E, I believe at max rank it's 100 flat AD with still bonus that you get from missing health. And basically, it makes you a little bit dangerous to be up close against. So you can get the magic damage from your Cinder Hulk, your Burning Agony, and your E to really do a number on someone. And right here I'm standing on a ward, and you're about to find out right there. So I was wondering where they were, which is why I was hesitant to open the shop window. I had flash up and we got a little bit of information about them. So right here I can go ahead and get the Cinder Hulk, I can go ahead and get the Kindle Gem, and which one is it? I think I go for the Null Magic Mantle. So while flat health is just nice to well, health stacking allows you to play both sides of the field. Instead of building armor and being weak to MR, or building MR and being weak to physical attacks, the health actually plays off of both of your innate resistances. So I don't necessarily increase my strength to one of them, but I keep a balance between the two and don't exactly generate a weakness. As for this, I'm wondering, is there a ward right here? I don't have a sweeper and I don't have a chicken buff. I don't really know because of how Blitzcrank moved. But right there I just keep chaining the cleavers, and lo and behold, Kate is behind me. So right there she used her Yordle Snap Trap and 90 caliber net, and Blitz messed up bad here. I am more than happy to tank that. Had he actually just ignored me and not tried to be flashy, his carry would have lived. And of course I gotta rub a little bit of salt in the burn. Seriously, if Blitz did not do his flash pull, Kate would not have died. I would have just turned around and walked away. Instead, pop the ult, drop the smite, no more carry. The best part is, that's putting gold on Misfortune, so, like I said, she's our secondary carry here. We can't do much about Cho, but I just gotta sacrifice that one lane and focus on the ones that actually can accomplish things. And in this case, it does include the bot. Most people do rag on Misfortune. I will say she's probably one of the weakest AD carries in the game right now. And, well, she's still an AD carry who should not be taken lightly when fed. But now to round out the moveset and allow me to just focus entirely on the game at hand, your ult is, I believe you sacrifice a fifth of your health for a surge of healing over the course of something like 15 seconds. And the amount of healing increases with the rank of the move, and the Spirit Visage increases it even more. So I got Merc Treads right there for LeBlanc, Zac, CC in general, magic damage. And right there, we managed to get LeBlanc. She's already going to start falling behind. Sadly, the flip side of this is that by Lux roaming, that means we lose our carry. Drawbacks, I know. So your health regen, as you may have noticed I said, it costs you a percentage, and it also heals a percentage. So if you stack some HP with, like, say, I don't know, a Cinder Hulk, a Randuin's Omen, a Spirit Visage, and, well, the one that I'm looking at I think is the Ohm-Wrecker, which is even more. All of that health is going to be more regen on your passive, and more on your ult, and the enemy has to cut through the health and all of those resistances to kill you. So one cruel way to think about the ult is, once you're close to dying, pop it, walk out of battle for a few seconds, walk back in, pretty much fully recovered, and tell the enemy they have to do everything again without all the cooldowns they just burned on you. So right there I used the flames in addition to the Merc Treads and my own tenacity, mastery, to get out of LeBlanc's chain pretty quick. And right there, that was her clone. The clone is still worth 25 gold, so killing it, if it doesn't cost you a big cooldown, is not a total loss. Gangplank's parley will refund part of the mana cost still, and he will get the bonus gold. Right there I stepped on the Bloblet to deny Zac his healing. Only I can heal. But that pretty much summarizes Mundo, and now I can focus on the game at hand. So I could put up the Burning Agony and then step on the traps to clear them out. Right here I'm using the E for the surge of AD that it gives. And I have the Agony up because it costs me health to use, and as my health goes down, the AD from the E will go up. So it allows me to take towers even more quickly. And I'm also willing to tank the minions because, like I said, less health, more damage. So right here I see some opportunity, but none was to be found. And right here is my only kill of the game. Stolen. So as for what I want to build, since one of Mundo's core items is the Spirit Visage, because it's one of the few sources of CDR that he has, with the removal of the original Golem and now the Juggernaut, it's really, really hard to get CDR on Mundo. You do not want to build a Frozen Heart because he cannot make use of all the stats there. So the CDR that I was looking at would be something like Spirit Visage for the 10%. You can get 10% off Ohm-Wrecker. The Ohm-Wrecker is a bit weird of a pickup, yes. The thing is, it gives you health, armor, regen, and the ability to take down turrets so you can dive the enemy. So just due to the way Mundo works, dives are very much an option, and the Ohm-Wrecker can make them even scarier than before. But I'd say the Ohm-Wrecker is definitely conditional. It's nice that it does give you CDR, but whether or not you pick that up should depend on the course of the game. But otherwise, the other must-buy item I'd say for him is the Randuin's Omen, because it gives you health, armor, and most importantly of all, it gives you an AoE slow active. So it increases your sticking power much more, and by staying close to the enemy, that means you can use your Agony more and the Cinderhulk Fire. So right there we heard the dragon die. I don't remember if I actually made a note of the timer. The thing that kind of sucks about the way I play is I do some of this stuff mentally, so I knew he was going to flash, that's why I went around, got him with a cleaver, and ended up getting blank slows. We've lost some misfortune, but Blitz goes down. So right here I want that out of the way, and we're kind of looking for LeBlanc. Kate goes down. I want to pick this up real quick for the CDR, and just so LeBlanc doesn't steal it from us. Lo and behold, there she is. So I got to take that from her, denied it, and right here we have a slim chance to kind of get her, but since she wasted her distortion, she's a sitting duck. And unfortunately for her, the cleaver is such a low cooldown that there's really no way out for her. So Gangplank is given the shutdown. I can do that because I'm not putting points in the Burning Agony, and as a result it doesn't do a lot of damage. I'm not stacking AP or anything like that. It's just low damage, and I'm setting her up for Gangplank's execute. Sadly, one drawback about this plan is I am funneling a lot onto GP. And friggin' MF stole that, even though it was one hit away. And right there, she did deny me 80 gold. So, someone started the chickens, but I was more concerned about the red buff. We don't exactly have a lot of wards on the map at the moment, and sadly one of the ways that Cho is trying to get back into the game is by taking the jungle creep, which does help me a bit more. In reality, I think it would have been best for him to just stay top lane while Gangplank and I grouped with Lux and Misfortune and tried to make plays that way. So right here is a taste of how tank can be coming. Sadly, I don't have the CDR of the Spear Visage just yet to really heal off of that, but I got them to burn a lot on me, and in the end, I lived, so yeah. I went ahead and picked up the Home Guards because I was anticipating a lot of action here. There's Rengar. So LeBlanc is forced out of the fight. She ends up dying to Lux, go figure. And we lost Gangplank, and we only picked up Rengar in exchange. Zach goes down, and I figure maybe I can get some counter jungling here, but Blitz makes a bad move, decides to make a pull, and unfortunately for him, I'm okay with taking the tower. So right here is that awkward spot where, hey, I just spent all this money on MR and now I'm dealing with an AD carry. So the Cade is actually able to do some decent damage to me right now because I'm using scaling armor seals, and I don't have a Warden's Mail just yet to give me those defensive stats that I need. So counter jungling, just gotta stall the Rengar. And since I have the upgraded ward trinket, I can help out with the vision, trying to make sure that none of my allies are caught off guard. Like LeBlanc. So the correct one is ignited. I knew she was going to pull that little bait and switch crap. And once again, just sign her up for Gangplank to execute. So like I said, she has made the mistake already of stopping her CSing, and since she's dying, she's just going to start falling behind in terms of EXP and gold. Once she stopped actually getting kills, she should have actually spent more time focusing, last hitting. When we tried to explain this to her after the game, she was crying, "It's hard to last hit on LeBlanc." Apparently she does not know how distortion works. I know it was the AP ratio on it was recently nerfed, but you can still clear waves really, really fast with that move. So the ward is giving me a little bit of vision on Rengar here, and he's in the wrong spot. So I went ahead and smited the Scuttle Crab so that we got the vision secured there. And right here I almost saved Rengar, because I walked away there trying to figure, okay, I'll give this to Gangplank. And as a result, I put some distance between him and GP, and Lux ended up having to secure that. So seeing more action here, namely the LeBlanc, I jump into action. I get to use the Scuttle Crab that I just smited. And like I said, her clone is worth 25 gold, so if given the opportunity, I am willing to kill the clone. Meanwhile, right here, I just gotta cover GP, make sure that if he gets an ace in the hole aimed at him, I can body block it, and that he doesn't die. My job here isn't to carry, it's just to be the biggest meat shield the enemy team has ever seen. So I went for the Giant's Belt because it synergizes with the rest of my moves, the passive and the ult. It does mean, yeah, I'm gonna be kind of poked out a bit by Kate, but I have a little bit of protection, just with my scaling seals. Not a lot, but it'll have to make do with the amount of health I have at the moment. Plus, I guess the Giant's Belt does synergize with the Cinderhold, so yeah. So I went ahead and started this. I wanted to just try to poke them down with cleavers, and they never really engaged. So, free dragon for us. So with that, GP gets the AD and AP boost, and since he's one of the guys that actually benefits from AD and AP, that's something they really did not want him to have. So dodging the blitz pull helped save him. If he actually got pulled, he probably would have died. And like I said a moment ago, my job, one of them, is to face tank ace in the hole, so that he doesn't die. So just helping out with the vision. Lux is not someone to be trifled with. And you won't actually get to really see Mundo shine until near the end of the game, sadly. So the three of us can take this pretty easily. It would be better with a double dragon buff, the 2 dragons. But we couldn't get a dragon before just now. So I wasn't sure what misfortune was maxing second, the W or the E, because we probably could have did a number on that tower if it was in fact the W. No big deal though, we'll be back. And right here, it doesn't matter if she takes the small one as long as I get the big one. Holding on to my smites, yes, because I kind of want to have them for battle. It increases my sticking power considerably. And I am a little bit regretful that I didn't actually smite the golems, because then I could use the buff to clear this crab that much more quickly. 80 more gold for me. And Gangplank is at the wolves, if you didn't see on the minimap or hear him. Now I want to give this over to him so that he doesn't have to worry about his mana, he can spam oranges, and he'll have CDR so that he can spam oranges in parley. And this is one that I actually do want to smite, because the Toadstool buff scales off of your health, something that I have quite an abundance of. It's basically like a poor man's Thornmail. And when you factor in my ult is going to heal me, I can kind of bait Caitlyn into some bad exchanges. So I'm starting to work my way up to 2,000 gold. I think it's actually 1,800 when I can pick up the Omen. And then I become stickier. And speaking of sticky, here's a sticky spot for Gangplank. So I did what I could to try to body block for him, but there wasn't much I could do. This is probably the worst team fight we're going to have for some time yet. So in the end I couldn't save Misfortune or Gangplank, but I can protect Lux. So once again I put up the flames to deal with the stun on his E. And as a result, the slime monster goes down. And Cho, Lux, and I are really good at clearing out bloblets. The important thing is Cho did get that, so that helps put him back into the game after the really horrible early game he had. He'll still have utility nonetheless because of the silence, being able to slow down and, well, kind of stop LeBlanc in her tracks. And we're almost at the end of the game. 2.5 minutes remain. So we have one more team fight coming up. On this back, I now have 2,000 gold. I can pick up the Randuin's Omen. And I don't actually look at the Ohm Wrecker here, but, or do I? So the Zerat portal wouldn't exactly be bad here because it does give me regen, yes, and then also defensive stats. It'll also increase our siege power. I don't have a definite item build for Mundo at the moment. I'd say it's really depending on what's in the game. Your core items, of course, just being your tanky jungle item, the Cinder Hulk, or whatever it's going to be called in the future. Spirit Visage, Randuin's Omen, and from there it's conditional. And even in the event that the enemy is AP light, you still may want the Spirit Visage for the CDR and the increased healing it gives you. It's a bit of an awkward spot, yes. But CDR on Mundo is extremely hard to come by, like I said. And here's the final battle. So Zack and I slow each other, Mundo makes it to safety, and our Gangplank makes it to safety. And right here I smite the Scuttle Crab to steal it, that's going to give us movement speed. And right here I need to peel as best as possible. I couldn't stop Zack, but I was able to tank a Blitzcrank full. Sadly, his silence there stopped me from flashing, but Misfortune got to pick up both Zack and Blitz. I flashed the trap, Rengar stealthed, and I didn't know which way he was going. He went for GP. So I did my best to protect GP, and he limps out with a little bit of health. So we aced them, and we didn't lose a single person. So Gangplank can sustain up with his oranges, and I'm willing to tank the tower just to take that sucker down. And this is the end of the game. You got to see Mundo in the jungle before the Cinder Hulk got nerfed. My favorite jungler from Season 2, back when you went Regrowth Pendant and Potion. Times have changed. I may look into doing another game with him in the near future with the new Cinder Hulk. We'll see. But if I can think of anything else to say, I'll post that in the description. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.